Ladies and gentlemen, very pleasant good night to each and every one of you. Welcome to this beautiful Monday night, the second day that is, of November 2020. It's a minute after 6 o'clock, and I promise you guys, we're going to have a very special show tonight. It's an election 2020 discussion, presidential election discussion that we're going to be having. And I want to introduce you the host of the panel and the moderator, if you want to call her that too, Miss Lerna Smith. Miss Lerna.
Hi guys. Good evening. This is a special day, you guys. It's a special day. It's the eve before what? Election day, you guys. And we came up very quickly here to bring you this outrageous and very smart and intelligent panel that we have here. So right now I'm going to introduce to you our panel for this evening, you guys. We are going to be focusing on just sending our message out to you, the world, so that you go out and vote. Your vote matters. So ladies and gentlemen, in the house this evening, we have the one and only Belizean journalist, Mr. Elaine Morris, is in the house, you guys.
Yeah, welcome, Mr. Morris.
Greetings.
Mr. Elaine Morris. Yes, you guys. Lots of information for you coming out of this, gentlemen. You guys know. And also in the house, guess who we have? The only female with myself. The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, CEO of Probis Tax and Accounting. I want you to welcome in the house, Miss Elaine Smith, Proby.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, you guys.
Yes.
I'm not sure how many of you guys know this gentleman, but my goodness, it's someone that you guys need to know. You guys got to get to know this gentleman right here. He is the agency owner at Farmers Insurance. So, who all need Farmers Insurance? We got him right here for you. And in the house, we have Rashawn Underdew.
All right. Good night, Rashawn.
All right.
Greetings.
And you guys know our producer that's in the house is no other than Mr. Will Johnson, Radio Belize Mix. We thank you for doing this for us this evening, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Mr. Will Johnson. All right, guys, we're going to have some great discussion, and I'm going to go back to the panel here to see if they have some addition to their long bio to give to you guys. So we're going to start with Rashawn. Do you have something else that you would like to tell the audience about yourself that I didn't say? Rashawn?
We're not hearing him. We'll have to get his audio. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, great. I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I want to say hello, a special shout out to my wife and my mother-in-law, the two best Belizean women I've ever known in my life. I want to say hello to my children, and I'm just looking forward to having a wonderful, wonderful discussion.
All right. And also, we're going to take it over here to Miss Elaine Smith Proby. Do you have some addition to your long title that you would like to say to the world?
No, I just wanted to add, aside of just the business aspect, that Secretary of the Consortium for Cities and Development, which is a nonprofit organization that we've had in here in the United States for many years, and so we have done a lot of community stuff and some great things in the past, and getting that together. So I think more than ever, I wanted to make sure that is.
Okay. Are we breaking up there a little bit? All right. Okay, guys, we're gonna get this together real quick. We are good. Mr. Elaine Morris, would you like to add some more to your outrageous title?
Oh wow, outrageous title. Hold my son in there, brother Will.
You're good to go. You're good to go.
My audio is all right.
You're loud and clear.
That's good. Yeah, I'm just glad to be here, Lerna. I've always, Belizean journalist for many years, and trying to serve the community, activist for many years, almost 30 years in the Los Angeles Belizean community. And it's always a pleasure to be here.
All right, you guys. So our discussion, give it up, you guys, for Mr. Belide Morris. Okay. Our discussion for tonight, we're going to get into the reason for voting. Tomorrow, you guys, I think we only have about 13 hours. Is it about 13 hours?
Yeah.
7 a.m. 7 a.m. is voting. The voting stations are open and they close at 8 p.m. So I think that's about 13 hours you guys have left for the biggest decision that you're going to ever make. So we are here just to encourage everyone. We're going to start with Mr. Belide Morris. He's going to give us his opinion of tomorrow, what he's thinking about sending a message to the people out there. Mr. Belide Morris, can you please talk to the people?
Greetings, everyone. Greetings to the Los Angeles Belizean community, to the Belizeans in New York, Belizeans in Chicago, who is hearing this. The Radio Belize Mix is a large audience. So I'm talking to Belizeans in the entire Belizean diaspora that you need to get out and go vote. If you haven't done so already, and I know that Belizeans are people who have practiced their democratic right in the United States, their newfound home. And those Belizeans are people over the last 30 or more years, the last so many years, who have voted in this country. There are a large immigrant community, and we just want to urge those Belizeans. You know, there are Belizeans who never had that right. They never had the right because they were just permanent residents. So some of them were just illegal in the United States. But over the last 20 or so many years, 30 years, Belizeans have acquired citizenship and have been able to practice that democratic right, the right that people, that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King fought for in the Civil Rights Bill in the United States, that did not allow Black people to vote. We are a Black immigrant group, particularly a Black immigrant group of people, and we want to thank those people like Dr. Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who allow us that right, because I think even if we were immigrants to this country, and that was not a right that was given to us, we would not have been able to practice this. We need to participate in change. We cannot talk about we want change, and then we just sit back or we don't try to do anything. There are Belizeans who say, well, I have a permanent residency and I don't really want to, I don't like voting, I don't like none of the people, I don't like, but no, go on, get your citizenship. Those people who have moved forward and have acquired citizenship, I champion your cause, because this is a very, very important election this year. They said this is the most important election in the American presidential elections. This is the most important one. And whatever your political affiliations are, whatever your partisan politics is, exercise that right. And, you know, over the last couple of weeks, I've seen so many Belizeans who have now lived in the United States and have acquired Belizean citizenship. They have been championing on Facebook. I went to vote. I went to vote. I voted today. And we want to say kudos to you, man, because it is a very important thing. There are people all over the world who do not have this right. They live in societies where there are dictators, and they live in societies where there is just one man, one rule. You know, they don't have that opportunity. You have that right. You come from a country, Belizeans, where you had that democratic right also to vote. And then you come to another country that gives you more freedom to vote. But that freedom that freedom didn't come easily. It came at a price. The struggle came at a price. We have to know that. And so if you're just sitting back and saying you're not going to go vote, think about what those, like in the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King and all those who tried and died for this democratic right that we are practicing today, that we have today. So that is my message today to my Belizean Americans all over the United States and the Belizean diaspora. If you have the opportunity to vote, go practice that democratic right.
Oh, well said, you guys. Well said, Mr. Belide. We thank you so much. And on that note, before I move over, Belide, we just want to remind folks, I know they should have all this information already. We want to go over quickly so that if they are thinking about something, why they are not able to go vote, we just want to go back over the rights, you know, the rights to vote, since you were talking about rights. the eligibility as far as their age, citizenship. Can you just go over that quickly? Because I'm sure there's some folks that still questioning, am I able to vote? I'm only 18, or, can you just go over that quickly, please?
Once you're 18 in the United States and you're a citizen of this country, you can vote. I've seen they have tried to push the 17-year-old vote thing in recently. It's on the ballot. If we look at our ballots when we were voting, and those who voted absentee and those who voted by mail, if we had seen that, they were asking, one of the things that they were asking, should 17-year-olds be able to vote, right? That is something that people want. But to vote, you have to make sure that you understand what is it that you're voting for. You have to not just to say, there is, as an educator, I remember running mock elections in teaching American history. And a lot of my students, what we did was take them to the assembly hall to let them practice that right. When President Obama was elected during the election, we did that. A lot of the students came and said, I don't know who to vote for. They didn't have the right yet. They were 8th graders, but they didn't have the right yet to vote. But they were like, after I gave them a whole complete lesson in American history and the American electoral system, they still were like, there was this apathy, I don't really like none of them. The point is that I told them, vote for you. Vote for you. And that's all you have to have. You have to have that you have respected the laws in this country, and that you have not broken any laws. You have lived a civil, very, very, very respectful life, and that you have reached the age of 18. Educate yourself. That's why American history is offered in schools. That you know your rights, and that you know your history. So that when you go and you decide to vote at 18 years old, you know what is it that you're voting for, and you know the issues surrounding the candidates that you're going to vote for. Is that not only just go, it's like they're doing multiple choice. A lot of them say, I don't know the answers, so I just put A, No, you think do some thinking about it, study, look at it, go do your research, and go look at the news, and be a thinker and a conscientious person in terms of what you vote for. And if you don't want to vote for none of them, then vote for you. Vote for you, that you are going to make a difference. And I think, Sister Lerner, that is one of the most important things. And to all the rest of our guests here today, it's the most important thing that our American citizens, or young people who are American citizens in this country, may they be indigenous or immigrant, that they understand the laws of this country, and that they have taken that time out through school, through being educated. Part of being educated is to know your rights and know what you're going to vote for, most of all.
Yeah. Correct. Exactly. Well said, Mr. Belay. Thank you so much. We're going to move. Yes. We're going to move over to.
I wanted to add something to that. Okay. On that note, it has been said that 14 million Americans turn 18. So this is going to be the largest number of the Generation Z, as it's called, Gen Z, that is eligible to vote. 14 million Americans have a block of the Gen Z Americans that is eligible to vote, guys. That's a lot of power. And think on this, they are going to be affected in politics for a very long time. When you start at 18, you have a long ways to go. And they have a great block. As a matter of fact, it's larger than
large as the baby boomers.
Is she breaking up for you guys?
Am I breaking up? Can you guys hear me well?
Yes, but you're breaking up a little bit. Let's continue.
Okay.
Okay, and so you make a great point. The youngsters of today, we have a lot of them that we want to get their votes in. So we're sending this message out there to all the millenniums. You guys go out, vote, vote, vote. All right. We're going to take it over to Mr. Rashawn Underdew. Rashawn, can you just let the world know what we're preaching here today as far as your voting rights for tomorrow? and encourage everyone to go out and vote in your own opinion.
Yes. Am I able to be heard okay? How's the sound?
Go ahead, Zershan.
Great.
Yes.
Mr. Belial touched on something that I think in our community, in our Afro-American, Afro-Caribbean community is so important in this country. One of the pivotal moments, and there's several in American history, 25 pivotal moments that Time Magazine believes has actually shaped our nation. And one of them is the Immigration Act of 1965 that Bilal talked about. But formally to that, during Jim Crow and segregation, immigration was only allowed to Northern and Southern European countries. But the Afro-American people fought so hard to end segregation, and Martin Luther King snuck in that immigration policy. And had we not fought for that freedom, had we collectively not put ourselves on the line for that freedom, beginning with the vote, the landscape of America wouldn't be nothing like what it is today. And because of that willingness to be active, to vote for yourself, it shaped millions and millions of lives and generations of people. So we need, in my belief, we need to look at this election with the same sense of urgency, that this election is not just about 2020. This election will have generational impacts on what type of country America will be. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, or like myself, an independent, what we need to do is really investigate the little bit of time we have left to see what candidates and what ballots and what measures will shape the America that will be best for all of us. Me, myself, I'm not Belizean, but I would love to have citizenship.
Yes, you are.
I've been to Belize several times, one of the greatest places on the planet. Met my wife when I was 14. And I know all about Belizean culture. And lately I've been hearing a lot new words as I listen to my mother-in-law on the phone speaking Creole with her friends.
A lot of new words.
Yes, but one of the things that I love that we're able to connect is that my family came here in the 1700s. My African family. Then my Portuguese family came here in the 1700s. My great grandfather, James Underdew, fought in the Civil War. So I have a very special place in understanding of American history that has been passed through my generations. And what I'm doing is trying to teach my children their Belizean history and their American history. And the most important thing to remember is that getting involved, becoming a part of the decision-making process is not only American, it's a human right. And if we don't use that right to vote, not only are we laying in submission to those in power, but I feel it's a slap in the face to all those people that fought on both sides to make it a right for women, for Afro-Latin people, for Afro-American people, for people with disabilities. In 1990, that was a major swing in the ballots, the Disability Act. There are about 25 pivotal moments in our nation's history, and I believe 2020 is going to go down as one of them. How awesome will it be to be a part of that, just to go vote? Whoever you vote for, use that right. Use that right.
Woo! Oh, nicely said. And before I move back over to Ms. Proby, Rashawn, a very important part of the ballot, as we know, we have the presidential part, and we also have the prepositions. We want the world to understand. Can you give a quick summary of some of the preposition that you want everyone to understand? There's a lot to read when it comes to the preposition. So we're just going to kind of let you guys not panic. The prepositions are easy. We want to vote the right way. And I know you have a quick summary of what the prepositions are. We're not telling them how to vote on there, but you just give us a quick summary, please.
Yes. The major propositions in California you can find at ballotpedia.org/California. Now, most people, when they vote, whether independent, Green Party, Republican, and Democrat. They'll just vote down the ticket on the propositions. But there's some key propositions in Los Angeles, particularly, and in California that we need to pay attention to. The first one is the Uber, Lyft, DoorDash proposition. People really need to decide on whether or not they think it's in the best interest of our state for those people to remain general contractors or to remain or to become employees, and what impacts that'll have not only in their own families, but on a tax base and et cetera. So that's a major proposition to pay close attention to. The next one will be the Criminal Sentencing Act and the cash bail referendum. Who's able to pay bail when they get arrested? Who's not? How does that affect our communities when people are able to come home or if they're not? I'm not telling people to vote yes or no on any of these, but these are some of the propositions that you want to pay close attention to. And again, you can find this at ballotpedia.org/California. You can see another major proposition will be Proposition 13 is on the ballot. Are we going to tax businesses? Are we going to tax their properties based on what they can sell it for or based on what they bought it for? There's millions of dollars on the table, whether you answer yes or no. And how will that money be used? Will it be used in the communities that these businesses are in, or will it be used in communities that these businesses are not? What impacts will this have on you, your children, the schools they go to? People think that, in my opinion, that the presidential election is the most important, but it's really not the most important. Some of the most important decisions will be made by your congressmen and women, your Senate men and women, and these ballots and these propositions, because these ballots and propositions, my grandmother used to always say, money on the wood makes the bet good. That's a Southern thing. Money on the wood makes the bet good. So where's the money going, and what wood will it be laid on? So these are what these propositions are and these measures are about. How are we going to collect the money, and then how are we going to spend it? Another major proposition, this will be the last one, and I'll encourage people to visit this website, is Proposition 10. It was defeated in 2019, and it's on the ballot again. So you need to, what I suggest is go to, again, ballotpedia.org. Okay, they really sum up these propositions and these measures, even down to the city you live in. If you live in Compton, you live in Los Angeles, you live in Malibu, you live in Watts, you live in the Valley, you live in Orange County, you can see what measures and bills and propositions are being debated and proposed in your city and actually go in. So I recommend, you can get overwhelmed with the information, right? So what I recommend is after the show, everybody go to that website, put in your city, and just focus there. Focus on your city. Because at this point, we know who you're going to vote. You know who you're going to vote for the major election. So look at your city ballots and your city measures and your city propositions. And then really ask yourself, what's going to most benefit me, my family, and my children and their children? And then vote accordingly. That's my advice.
Woo-hoo. All right. Ms. Proby, any addition to Vashon?
Yeah, absolutely need to vote, or they don't, they want to stand on the sideline. And let's get to the bigger picture. Like a lot of the people within your community on those ballots that we were just talking about, right? You are affected daily. Your lives are affected daily. By the people in your community. They talk about roles that you drive. So you got to start within the community. Start with your council person. Start with your state. The whole thing, because just like we said earlier, all this stuff, it's not just the big picture. Everything starts within the community. And you guys, don't stand on the sideline and expect something to change. Right. Because it does. Your vote does count. So don't stand on the sideline. Don't expect anything to change. Stop the community. Go and read the ballot, read the proposition, read all the different measures that relates to your city, wherever you're at, the county, and then vote accordingly, you guys. Start with that. Let's make sure the people that we're dealing with in the scale.
Okay. All right. You guys, wow. Yes, Rashawn, go ahead.
I just want to say something briefly to the Gen Zers and the millennials and some of the Xers. Okay, I gotta take my glasses off for this one.
Go ahead.
We all stand in line for iPhones,
Right.
sneakers,
Right.
tickets, hamburgers, ice cream, grapes. You can stand in line for a few hours to go vote tomorrow, okay? Have some stamina, okay? Have some courage. Go out there and get it done, okay?
Yeah,
This is going to be a lot more important than sneakers and Nikes.
Here's where I have to appear and agree with what the Rashawn is saying, because I was just talking to a couple of friends a little bit earlier, and we're talking about people are out there when it comes to what's it called? Not demonstrating. What's it called?
Activism?
Protest? No,
Yeah,
not the
protesting.
protesters.
Protesting. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can go out there and you could protest for a very long time, then you can safely
goodness.
stand in the line to show to use your voice. This is a chance that you
Right.
get to your voice, your vote is what matters at this time. Go ahead, Lernam.
Right. Ms. Probert, were you done, or did you have something else to say on that note?
You know, on that note, I'm fine. I would like to hear what, the Generation Zs and the Xs, I like the message to them to get out there and vote. Like I said, more than 14 million have registered already, so we need them not to just register, but to go on and vote.
Go on and vote. Okay, I'm going to throw something out there, and you guys, I think you guys...
And
I think you guys may have mentioned this. If not, we're just going to throw that back out there, like Mr. Johnson also said. I want you guys to base your opinion on here. Observers, people that stand on the sideline, okay, and does not vote. I need you guys to just, what do you think about those individuals? What do you guys have to say? Do they have a voice? Because we always hear a lot of noises from the ones them that is not voting, and they are the ones them that we get a lot of complaints about. So at this point, Mr. Belide, can you just illustrate on that for me, please, as far as the observers that always have the most to say?
This is the age of political maturity. The hard work has already been done by our ancestors. They have already laid down the path for democracy, for us to go and practice these things that these rights that we never had before. I think that Lerna and our guests, that sometimes it's not necessarily the fault of those people who are suffering from that apathy of not wanting to vote. Being an educator, I have spoken to so many students who don't actually have the political maturity. It comes with growth. And that doesn't mean that at 18 years old that you will know exactly. We heard Rashawn breaks down, how he broke down all these different, measures that is on the ballot that we need to understand. It takes political maturity to really understand a lot of those things, and I think a lot of people are very, very fearful. They are kind of steer away from all of that. It's not that they don't really want to participate in the political process, in the electoral system. It's just that they have not reached that age of maturity. And I would like to quote one of the things that Malcolm X used to say, that it is about political maturity, and if you do not become politically mature, you will not be able to tell those Congress people in Congress who you have sent there. You are the ones that have sent them to the White House. You will not be able to know and understand what is it that you voted for. You're not only to just to vote and That's it. But you're supposed to be able to put the amount of pressure on your Congress people. Look, Congresswoman Karen Bass met me one time. I went for a housing meeting. And I said to her, you know, I was just trying to get a modification, right? And I know my rights. And she was talking to her constituency. And so I said to her, I started to converse with her. And she said, oh, you Belizean. He said, do you know that the Belizeans are the largest black immigrant group in the United States? And so I was like, oh, well, really? Are you serious? How do you know that, Congresswoman? She says, because they vote for me in my constituency.
Oh, wow. Large. All right.
She pulled closer to me. She said, why is it that the Nigerians and the Ethiopians are leading the black immigrant agenda? He said, do you know it is the black immigrant she said, do you know it is the African diaspora and the entertainment industry that sent me to Washington? And I was like, wow, this is a politician talking here. I live in her constituency. Does my people know that they are the largest black immigrant group and that what they're supposed to do with that political power? And so she's asking me, do you all know this? And then if you do know this, what are you doing with it? What are you doing with it? So voting is more what the Congresswoman was saying. She said, you all sent me to Washington. Your votes, Belizeans abroad in the diaspora, especially the Los Angeles Belizean community that is the largest immigrant community outside of Belize. The largest in the diaspora.
And the last time we heard that number was like 80,000.
And so get out there and go practice that vote. And you have been doing this. If you have not been practicing your democratic right to vote, the Congresswoman would have never known. So I said, oh, you get all that stuff. What did you compile? It says, my campaign people have all that stats. We know your ethnic background. I know all the ethnic groups that voted for me. I know. And therefore, I said, then why are you supposed to know? He says, so that I can best serve my constituency. By you voting, you are demanding something back from your elected official. These are the things that I would like to have. A better quality of life, better schools. I always tell my students, you know, you want to vote because you want to be able to have that right to have good public schools. That there is nothing like it in the world. You have some of the best schools in the world. You know, you have some of the best education that is offered to you. And it is not given to you freely. It is from your parents' taxpayers' money that they had to pay while you get free education. And so you try to break it down to them in very simple terms. And I say that because immigrants have a tendency to be timid, to stay in the background. And you know, a lot of our people are not documented. And we know with the rise of the Trump presidency, there was a threat to immigrants that, you know, they would have lost their permanent residency. There was so much fear in this country. And do you know what? That by itself pushed a lot of Belizeans to go become citizens. A lot of them were just holding on to their permanent residency and saying, no, I'm a Belizean. I'm going to vote in Belize. I just come here and I live here. No, you just are not here. I live here. You have to participate. There are certain things that are offered to you that did not come free. There are certain things that are offered to you that people had to struggle for. So therefore, you have to show gratitude and gratitude for that. And I say, speaking particularly to the Belizean diaspora in the United States, that quoting the Congresswoman and that very special little meeting that I had, that it is so important that you have sent people to Congress. And so continue to practice that democratic right. Continue to participate no matter what. You know, there are people who are like, oh, my this is a Republican and that is a Democrat. That does not really matter. This is not a situation where you will have quarrels and you are upset because one person is this and another person is that. The point is that respect that person's right, that person's political affiliation, and you don't worry about that person. You go out and you vote conscientiously. Vote for things that will make you have a better life in the United States. and by you participating, that you can say, you know what, my vote did that.
Didn't matter.
My vote down that barrier. Now my grandchildren will be able to afford this and have that and that right and that right. Because if you don't vote, the people who vote in this country are the people who you see. The Congress people are pushing all of their legislations to the forefront.
Yes, yes.
And that's
Exactly.
the majority. Not to be racial, but they get the best because they go out there and they vote.
Yeah.
They go out there and vote. We are blacks and Latinos and other people of color. We tend to want, especially those of immigrant background, we tend to be timid. But we have to realize that if you don't go out and try to make a change and don't say something with your vote, those people in Congress, in the House of Representatives, and in the Senate, you are going to be gerrymandered. They're going to push you aside and they're going to make you vote that you're not voting for nobody. So you have to make sure that after you vote, that you exert your power. That's why the Congresswoman said to me, do they know they have that power? Why is it Nigerians and Ethiopians are leading it? You're supposed to lead it because you are the largest group. But this is because we are not a people who educate ourselves. We just vote. And then afterwards, we don't really care what our vote does, right? So he said, I want to speak to your people. I want to speak to your community. And this
that was something, and that was something that we should have made happen, months ago.
Very much so.
Because we haven't really done anything within the community to bring awareness of this moment here for tomorrow. We haven't done. This is the first one that we're having, just talking about it at this point. And it's not, I'm not going to say it's too late. It's not too late for us to send that message that we're doing right here tonight. It's not too late to send the message out to everyone. And we're focusing within our Belizean community and every other community in the world. But we're talking tonight to, like he said, the many Belizeans that is here, just in Los Angeles, California alone.
You're talking about 200,000 Belizeans in the diaspora, more than that. What is in Belize?
Are you kidding? Really?
Wow.
Okay. We gotta let's try
the key,
Miss Robbie. Miss Robbie,
but
the key.
Like better, whatever it is, you have to participate, not just vote, guys. Okay, so we got to keep that in mind. That's the key.
Participation. You're right, Ms.
No more standing on the sideline. No more standing on the sideline. I read a quote where if you were running for an official 6 years, best job done for the community which you live in. So now put the shoe on the other foot. If I was running, I would want everybody to come vote for me. So because I'm not running, because I'm not that person, someone else is running, then I need to go vote for them as well. Or whoever is going to get the job done, guys. Whoever's going to get the job done.
Okay.
That benefit it. Yeah.
Right. I want to throw this question out here, you guys, because we want to make this as simple as possible for everyone out there that haven't voted as yet. Okay. And they got a ballot in the mail that they may still have on their table. Okay. They may still have that ballot on their table. It's a lot of them already voted. It's a lot of us. A lot of them that may still have that ballot. We want to make sure, you guys, you can fill that ballot out, but please do not drop it in the mail. Tomorrow is election day. There's a lot of polls that is open. Ms. Proby, you just went and vote recently. Can you tell them the experience of the voting polls, how they make it so accessible and convenient for you to just get your vote in with no pain. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Right. I actually filled out the ballot by mail, and I was going to mail it off, but I was told that you can go, to take it to any of the voting polls. So I went to the forum, guys. If you live in LA, I went to the forum.
Okay.
Everything is totally organized. And so I decided not to just drop my ballot in the box. I decided that, hey, this is a great experience. It's easier to just go and do it myself. So what I did was I just went on and they voided the vote by mail ballot that I had. And I voted on the machine, and it was so many machines, just like Queen Lerner said, put your ballot in the box at one of the voting polls. Do not mail it. Do not mail it. Take it to a poll and put it in the ballot. But the experience is real simple. They have everything totally organized and everything is totally electronic. So yeah, that was, it was easy, guys. So
Rashawn?
If people go to ktla.com, ktla.com/news/election, there's actually a web page that you can choose Los Angeles County, Orange County, wherever you live. And it'll give you a list of all the places you can either drop your ballot,
right,
or bring your ballot and do what Miss Proby did. So they're all over the city, in our neighborhoods and more in fancy neighborhoods. They're everywhere. So wherever you live, you can find one. So if you've got that ballot on your table, please go to ktla.com and search ballot drop boxes, and you'll see you might have one around the corner from your house.
Right.
Like my church is an official site. There's a lot of the churches in the area that are official sites. They're everywhere. Libraries, churches, even some places that have huge parking lots are doing it. So ktla.com.
Yeah, point out that. Remember, you had to vote at certain voting anywhere. No, you don't have to go to a place in your neighborhood where you are registered. You can vote anywhere. It's all electronic.
Good, Miss Proby. Good.
Well, that's a good point, because we used to think that you can only go to where you're registered to drop, even dropping your vote in. So you can go to any poll and just drop that ballot in. You guys.
Might be a poll next to somebody's job. They can go there. Bring it to work. Put it in your purse. Put it in your backpack. Put it in your lunchbox. Take to work. And when you go on your lunch break, might be downstairs in the same building as you. Just keep your eyes open. Go on that website and check it out and get it done.
Right.
Okay. But there's a lot of people that is scared of the internet and computers and stuff like that. There is phone numbers, you guys, that you guys can call in your district, in your city. You guys can call. They can help you guys. And also, free rides. Anyone have information about free rides? They are picking up folks to go vote for free. So they're making this thing very easy for everyone to get out and vote. You guys, vote. I'm going to throw these questions, and it's going to go for each one of you guys, because this is a situation that we definitely going to have, because there's so many people out there that is still voting, still getting their ballots in, and it's going through the post office, you guys, and it's coming to a point where we are wondering if those ballots is going to be counted as received on the 3rd tomorrow and receive on that day. What do you guys think? I'm gonna talk to Mr. Belay. What do you think should happen? Because we're gonna there's a situation that's gonna be created. So we just want to see your opinion of those ballots coming through the mail after election. So election is tomorrow, but there's millions of mail still coming in. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, I will start by saying that the process of elections, of the process of voting, is an intimidation by itself. You heard about voters' intimidation, right? And we all know up here it is real. And if you get intimidated by this whole process, just to go vote, they have made the process to vote very complicated. But it is really not. It is very, very basic. As we heard Rashawn and Elaine broke it down, it don't make it appear as like it's that difficult. Those those ballots that get languished in the mail, we know in the past that there were thousands of ballots that did not get counted, that was not a part of the process, though people exercised their right. And this is why a lot of the American electorate today has sort of don't have the spirit anymore, because they may have been one of those persons that got caught up in the whole process of elections gone by where their vote was not counted.
Also trust.
Because of the very process you're talking about, Sister Lerner, that it got caught up in the post office, people waited too long, they held so many mail back. We heard of how certain mails were thrown away. We heard that ballots were being taken and thrown in dumpsters before the election ever started. And so all these things are voters' intimidation to keep people away from the polls. And the process itself is intimidating. And it is voters' suppression in a lot of ways, because they did it before with those ballots that got caught up in the mail, and they're using it today, whichever political party that is, or whichever president that comes into power and want to do it for political expediency. But it is a fear, and it is a kind of a thing that discourages people from wanting to vote. But we say that don't let those things stop you. Do what Rashawn and Elaine is saying, and yourself. Go out there tomorrow and go to a polling station and vote. Do not go put nothing in the mail, because you're not going to get counted at all. Your vote is not going to go nowhere. There are so many millions of votes still languished inside the post office. How many of it have got out? We don't really know. We are like really hidden from that. We are blinded to that. But the whole process is that don't be intimidated, right? Do not let voter suppression work on you. Get out there and stand in that line. It's like, who said it? I think Will Johnson said it just now. If you can get out there and support Black Lives Matter and get out there and stand in long lines of protest, and I've been on those lines, I've been in those demonstrations, right? And I've seen how people come out. If you can come out the same way tomorrow and practice that right, the right to protest or practice the right to vote, right? Take that protest beyond now. Put your money where your mouth is, and you put whatever way your mouth is, and stand in that line. And do not be
stand in that line.
Make sure that you
get it done. Get it done.
We're gonna try, Ms. Proby, again. And this is another question along the same lines. If if your votes get in there after election day, but it's postmarked before that date, is it still counting? So we know that is what should happen. If your vote is in there, if your ballot is in before the election date, and there's proof that it's postmarked before that day, not after, it should be counted. And another question also, Ms. Proby, along the same line, the lines are humongous, like you said, the lines are huge, are wrapped around corners and corners. But we are urging you guys to stay in line. And the question is, do you think those voters standing in lines, and here comes the 8 o'clock hour to try to get in and vote, do you think that they should have that right? Ms. Proby? Then we're going to ask Rashawn, what you think?
Yes, I think that most of the voting polls, the way they're situated, if you are in, they, I think they allow you to cast those votes, those ballots. And we have all known that, of course, there's ballots that counted even after the election. They, the ballot was in the mail on time. Within 14 days, it was still going to be counted. So, I mean, all this stuff is up in the air. But I think back to what I was saying, if you went to a poll and you have your ballot and you were able to go in and physically go in and vote at that electronic machine, it's best to go ahead and do it. So, I mean, that's just the safest way to do it right now.
Yeah, but my concern, Rashawn, right? My concern is I'm in line and I'm right here at the door. It's 8 o'clock. Are they supposed to close the door on me and I stand there for 5 hours? What do you think about that, Rashawn?
I thought that they were taking a list to see who's in line, and
are they doing that?
That's what I've seen in the past. That's something for us to all look into, because if you're in line, they should have some monitor of the line who's taking a list of names or giving numbers. And at 8 o'clock, that last person that's there, at 8 o'clock, the last person in line is the last vote of the night. So if you're in line at 8 o'clock, there should be a monitor. Right. So if that polling station doesn't have a line monitor, I think by 7:30, somebody should take an initiative and go in there and see who's the supervisor of the polling station, and demand that they send a line monitor to count the line. And that line monitor is going to go down the line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever they're using.
That is happening.
That's what should be happening. That's what should be happening. It should be, and that's what it does happen in certain areas. But in the areas that it's not happening, whoever's in that line at 7:30, ask the supervisor in the front, tell the person behind you, hey, I'm going to go check and make sure they have a line monitor. I'll be back.
Right.
Go in, see if there's a line monitor, demand that they send a line monitor and count that line. Because that last person there at 8 o'clock, then they cut it off. Normally they'll give that last person a ticket or a bracelet around their wrist, or some type of something that they're holding to show that they're the last person.
Well, I really hope that is happening. Mr. Johnson, you have any remarks on that? Anything to say? Because I'm a little concerned because I see the lines.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to echo what Rashawn has been saying, and probably Mr. Bilal himself, Mr. Morris. I do believe that when there is a line and that time comes to an end, if it's like 8 o'clock for the night, I'm not sure which get cut off, they're going to look at the very last person who was in that line at the time when it comes. That's my understanding of it. And if that's the case, then you don't have to worry, because everybody else's vote is still going to count if they have been in that line.
Right. They have to make sure that there's a line monitor put in place for the line that they're in. So at 7:30, if you don't see a line monitor, if not you, then who? Go to the front and ask them to count that line.
Yes, I would. We're going to take this moment right here to see if anyone is trying to give us a call. We have a call-in number here, which is 310-491-0360. If you would like to call in and base your opinion for tomorrow election, this is your time to do so. Woo. Election 2020, you guys. We're gonna go over. We're gonna go over and make sure that everything that we just said here tonight is simplified. Make sure you go out. Our message today is just to make sure you go out and vote tomorrow. The polls are open at 7 a.m. You would like to be the first one? Get up early and go.
Get in there.
Right? Get in there. Okay, and that's tomorrow, which is Tuesday, November
3rd.
Wow. Okay.
There's the phone number.
There's the phone number. It's 310-491-0360. Election 2020. You're here with us on a Wake Up Like This special edition. Vote, vote, vote. All right, guys. If we don't have anyone calling in at this point, we're going to go to a wrap up. And Mr. Belide, I know that the election in Belize is also in November, and that's coming up 1 week after this one here. The same message that we're sending out today is the same message we would like to send to the folks back home to go out and vote. You guys, we can't tell you who to vote for, but we want you guys to make that time to go out and vote. So at this point, we're going to get some wrap-ups from each one of you guys. We're going to start with Rashawn.
I just want to wish everyone a safe election day. Get your rest tonight. Eat a good breakfast. Go to those websites I went to and really just ask yourself the question, what type of country do I want to live in, and vote accordingly. Thank you so much for having me, Miss Lorna. Thank you so much for my panel partners, and thank you, Will.
Thank you too, Rashawn.
Miss Proby?
Yes. My message is, guys, exercise your civic right. Make sure that your voice is heard. Don't stand on the sideline. And make sure your vote does count. So don't stand on the sideline and expect a change. And you're not voting for any party, you're really voting for your democratic rights. So let's do it.
Let's do it. Mr. Belai?
Yeah, I just want to say that this is the most important American presidential election in the whole history of the United States. I mean, it has been called that. You can play a significant role. Belizeans in the diaspora, Belizeans who have acquired American citizenship over the years. We can quote the times from Clinton all the way down to Reagan and so on, where Belizeans have acquired that opportunity to vote in the United States. Use that opportunity and be a part of change. This is the most important election in the whole history of the United States. Don't be counted out. Be a part of the change that you would like to see in the world tomorrow. Go vote.
Yes, right. All right, you guys. And there's one thing: if you mail your ballots in, you're able to check to make sure that ballot reached that destination. There is where is my ballot? You know, you guys can go to that website. Where's my ballot.sos.ca.gov. And you guys have that. When you guys mail the ballots in, everyone out there, there is a piece that you can pull off, and there is a number that you can check. Where is my ballot? If you really want to know, I'm just hoping mine get there. Rashawn?
One last thing, for the older people that don't have transportation, just call your local church. All the churches have vans ready and on call, to my knowledge. So just call your local church. Somebody will come and get you, and to get you to the poll and bring you home. So they got you covered.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Are we satisfied with our delivery, guys? We're coming to a wrap. So is there anything else that you would like to say? Anyone? This is your final chance.
In terms of the election in Belize, I just want to use this opportunity to learn to say that Belize's elections is November 11th. It coincides exactly around the same month as the American presidential election. So it's two significant elections as far as Belizeans and the diaspora is concerned. You can vote in Belize, but you can vote here where you have lived, where you have lived most of your lives as an immigrant community. And there will come a time, hopefully one day soon, if you continue to exert a kind of voting bloc in the United States and have friends like Congresswoman Karen Bass, that the doors and the floodgates will be able to open up for you in Belize, where they're trying to keep us back from not voting. But you will be able to also make change possible, Belizean Americans and Belizeans in the diaspora, that you will be able, being a natural born Belizean, you will be able to vote. Americans vote wherever they are. Even in this presidential election, Americans are voting by proxy. The system and the electoral and political system give them that right and that freedom. Wherever they are in the world, they can vote by proxy. They are playing a significant role in the change that they want to see in their country, even though they don't live here. Why can't Belizeans in the diaspora do the same thing? And that's what I want to say.
Wow, well said. So, ladies, gentlemen, Mr. Johnson,
I'm
any
here.
final word for you?
No, I just want to remind folks, get an early sleep like me right now. I'm going to go sleep so I can get up the morning early, okay? All right, then. I want to, I quickly want to thank everybody on the panel for being here tonight. Of course, I got to make my disclaimer: the views and this discussion is not that of the station, but I'm here to support, and that's what we're doing right here at Radio Belize Mix.
All right, and we thank
Will.
you,
Appreciate
Mr.
you.
Johnson,
Thank you, Will.
for giving us this platform to send our message out. And once again, you guys, the message is go out and vote tomorrow. Your vote does count. Ladies and gentlemen, world, this is Queen Lorna, a Wake Up Like This special edition. California general election, vote 2020.
20.